Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for my client Michelle's vlog. And we started this week off with a football bar bench press. She got around 150 pounds on it. Actually, I believe it's 148. It's her first time using this bar, moved really fast. Not a real big pause, but again, very awkward bar to touch with. So we're pretty happy with that. And she kind of laughed after she looked at the footage. She goes, "Yeah, I should have gone up in more weight." And I agree, she was totally capable of that. So let's look at what the rest of her training week looks like. So on max effort upper day, we do floor press. Then we did neutral grip pull-ups, dumbbell rows, plate front raises, and then a bunch of tricep band press downs. So for people to understand what we're doing with the band press down, she again needs a lot of triceps. She benches close grip, doesn't have a real choice. So we need to do a lot of tricep work for her. We need to make sure her front delts are strong, that her triceps are strong. Then obviously she needs middle and upper back. We don't spend a lot of time worried about pectoral development outside of what she gets from her general pressing at the moment. It's just simply not necessary. But keeping in mind, we have a fair amount of pressing volume. So you'll notice the same thing, that she does a really narrow grip for her neutral grip pull-ups. She's actually a lot stronger at chins, but we've only been doing the pull-ups because we're not as concerned with, trying to do a supine grip movement. Although I may let her work some of those back in coming up. So again, the reason for the narrow grip on everything, there's some surgery involved that does restrict what she can do as far as width and everything in her shoulders. Keep in mind she is a submasters lifter. She's had some surgeries and other things at this point in life that do make some movement patterns a little more difficult. But the fact of the matter is she's still competing very successfully. She's doing really well so far in competition. Her last lifter, she got best overall lifter. That's also, you guys see that Michelle belt that she has, that was actually a gift she got for her placing at a regional meet. So, the idea here is that next year we want to put her on nationals, right? We want to put her on a national level platform coming up. So that is the game plan. But after we do the floor presses, all that back work, then I'm having her do plate front raises, and we may rotate in some overhead pressing in place of some of this eventually, again, for the extra tricep development. But for now, the plate front raises work great, and then we're doing a lot of band work for the triceps. So 5 sets both upper days. And the idea is the same reason you guys see me do these in my vlogs. People who follow my vlogs are very familiar with it. We do these for both tricep development, lockout strength, but to help hypertrophy the tendons around the elbow. Again, it's a great tool for that, and it's something that we have to have for someone like her who's going to do a lot of close grip benching, because a lot of the tricep movements that we do can be very, very hard on your elbows. I think it can be very hard on them. Max effort lower day. She did 220 on the safety bar against 30 pounds of bands, about 30 pounds, looks like Rogue Reds possibly there. Now, they got a little loose at the bottom, but she's working with what she has for tension on this setup. I'd like for her to be able to use band pegs, but it looks like a way a lot of their racks are set up, it's not as feasible to do that. But that was still a very good lift. Right here, this is PR. She got 295 off of a deficit. Last time we tested her deficit deadlift, she got 275. Now this was obviously a difficult lift, a little grindy there. You could tell that she struggled with that a bit, but 20-pound PR, so we'll take it. Take that any day of the week. All right, then she does her good mornings, and we're doing safety bar at the moment. We can always rotate bars on these eventually, and I would like to eventually like for her to get access to a cambered bar also. But in the meantime, we use a safety bar, and I think we can do that and worry a little bit more about the back on these because we have all these other lower body tools. It puts us in a good place because we have access to so much other lower body equipment like glute ham raises and the reverse hyperextension, which we finish up with here. we can use a safety bar for the most part on this for quite a while, and I think we'll be fine with it. That way I'm not putting extra stress on her shoulders, trying to hold on to a straight bar all the time. Again, particularly important for someone who's has some surgeries and things. And no, she doesn't have a history of a shoulder injury. It's a surgery not related at all to that. Has some scar tissue through that area. So it makes stuff problematic. And she can't actually incline bench, for example. All right, but we finish up with glute ham raises and reverse hyperextensions and then ab work. And I don't think we got any footage this week of the ab work. I don't think we have footage of that, and that's okay. We don't have to get it every week. But she does toe to bars, which you guys have seen her do. She's quite good at them. So abdominals are not a weak link for us here, not at all. And of course, then we finish up with the reverse hyperextensions, and you guys know how I feel about these two movements. I am of the opinion that these two movements build a monstrous deadlift. Particularly, we throw some rows in and we're good to go. Now, keeping in mind, this is our work to build the musculature of these movements. Okay, this is how we build the musculature of these movements. I'm not saying that it completely builds the movement pattern on its own, but we do lots of speed pulls. So it works, and I'm happy with that. All right, dynamic effort upper day. Speed bench with chains. And she's gotten better at this. You guys notice that her foot position is fixed. I had mentioned, I think, in the last vlog that we had a lot of issues with her moving her feet, not getting them set in tight. Now we're in a good place here. Everything's good there. Everything is smooth. Much, much happier with that. I'm a lot happier with it. Then, of course, we do all of our back work, shoulder work, tricep work on this day. And I may incorporate additional pressing eventually on this. I want to make sure her work capacity is good for it, that she can handle it. But for now, I'm happy with it, and we'll work some other stuff in if we need to. And eventually, over time, I may raise her percentages on the speed work quite a bit. So I like to keep them always light for my fighters, for my people who recovery is a major issue. Michelle has a really high work capacity in recovery, and we know in general women tend to have better work capacity than men. Men tend to have slightly higher neural drive, neuromuscular efficiency, but in her case, she also does a lot of conditioning. She's in very, very good conditioning shape. She's a former boxer. It matters. So again, we do the pull-ups, we do the rows, and then we do plate front raises, right? Plate front raises, the band press downs. And if I add more stuff, I think on this day might be a good place to add additional overhead work just to make sure that we get good shoulder development for her, right? And I might do that coming up on the next block. I'm actually considering it. Again, just to get the additional tricep and shoulder work in. And like I said, I'm not as worried about her chest. We get the floor pressing and whatever auxiliary pressing we put on max day, and then we get pretty good volume on speed day there. All right, and then of course we have the band press downs. And then after that, we get over to dynamic effort, lower day. And I ran with the footage that she sent me so far on this. It was more than enough to get the vlog. Obviously, we're missing the other stuff at the end. We just have the speed work, we have the good mornings, and we have the glute ham raises. But we're doing safety bar against chains at the moment. I do want her to be able to sit back further on the box. You know, we're still having a lot of knee slide. It still very much looks like a high bar squat in terms of that. Well, let's see, no, I don't have her doing the safety bar this week. But that's also indicative, if you watch this, that we need more hamstring development, right? And you can tell from the side if we look. She's got adductor at this point. We really do need more hamstring. But again, we have the glute ham raises in there. We have the good mornings. So we're in a good place for that. All right. Speed pulls, of course, I want her to pause on that second one. I may take her over to singles to eliminate that if I need to. Because people get excited sometimes on speed pulls and they don't always reset the way that I would like. And it has to do just with the mindset walking in. A lot of times people are a little more aggressive, which is what I like to see on speed work, but it can be at the cost of things like that. And then, of course, here we have the safety bar good mornings again. And then we have the glute ham raises, which are on the camera, followed by reverse hyper extensions. and hanging leg raises, which we don't have on here. But at least we see right here us addressing the hamstrings. These two movements combined, which one is a stretch reflex and the other is a multi-joint exercise that works the entire hamstring top to bottom. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.